Welcome to the Lights in the Night Show with Russell Johnson, who wants to talk about and reveal what the United States government doesn't want you to know about UFOs and aliens right here in this country and around the globe. Russell has been following this material for over 50 years and will have guests who will tell their stories from around the world. Take down the number to call in, 888-565-1470, because Russell wants to hear your story. Our show also invites you to send your pictures and videos to UFO@amp2.tv so we can show them on our program at lightsinthenight.tv. Now, let's get to the Lights in the Night subject matter and hear what the government has tried to keep quiet for over 50 years. Again, get ready to call 888-565-1470 and watch on lightsinthenight.tv. Now, here's Russell with today's show.
Well, hi, good evening. Tonight we have a surprise for you. The people from Hollow Earth, they're going to be with us, Jane and Billy. And Debbie, thank you very much. The show was nice last week. I was watching it.
Good.
You did a great
Very
job.
Good. Thank you.
And Lady Christopher's with us, back again.
Glad to be here, Russell. Glad to be here. This is exciting. I'm so excited to talk to them.
Oh, great. Excellent.
Yeah, lots
I
of
have a
questions.
few good questions, too.
Okay, great. Well, you know, it's official. NASA's New Horizon became the first spacecraft to fly, passing within 7,750 miles of the planet Pluto. So that's
Dwarf planet Pluto, actually.
well, it's I call it. It's small.
It only meets two of the three characteristics of a planet.
What is that?
The third characteristic that it doesn't meet is that it doesn't have its own space. It's in the midst of another belt.
Oh,
So that's why it's not quite a planet.
Interesting.
it took what 50 years? How long did it take to get to 10 years? Let's see.
I think it was like a decade.
Yeah, a decade, 10 years. Yeah.
I might want to mention that the video playing tonight is sent in by Billy and Jane from hollowearth.com.
Oh, okay.
That'll be streaming with us.
Okay.
All right.
Good.
And if you guys have any pictures or video to send them to UFO@amp2.tv. And you can tune into lightsinthenight.tv to chat with us.
Mm-hmm.
And if you actually have a question this evening of your own, you can try us at 888-565-1470.
Excellent. Right on target. But as I was saying, it moved at 50,000 miles per hour, and it took a decade to get there.
Imagine trying to reach another solar system at that rate.
Right. About 50,000 miles per hour. It's pretty fast, huh?
Sure is.
It'll take you to California in about 3 minutes or something like that.
And it sort of makes us feel a little primitive, doesn't it? If all these other extraterrestrials are getting here in the speed of thought, and it takes us 10 years to get.
Debbie, how about that? Debbie, you've done a lot of research on Hollow Earth. The guests are here, so you go ahead.
Hi, how are you? I have very fascinating theories. I've read very fascinating theories about the Hollow Earth theory. Can you tell me how you got into it and what your theory is?
Billy, Jane?
Talking to us, right?
Yes,
Of course.
the expert.
Well, I didn't just get into it.
Aren't you from it?
Yes, I am. I was born in the Hollow Earth city of Yeyu, and
Where is that located?
that's located. Well, if you could go down into a mine that went straight through the Earth's crust, it would be somewhere around underneath Arkansas.
Mm.
Interesting.
And is that what your birth certificate says?
No.
Billy, let's talk about your history briefly. Billy was in the Air Force. He's a colonel, retired.
Mm-hmm.
Billy, tell us your background in terms of being in the Air Force and what you were doing and all that. And then Debbie will.
Well, when I went to basic training in Lackland Air Force Base in Texas, I went through my training there, and then I also got assigned to the officers course as well. And what happened was after I finished my military training, then I was sent to the Pentagon, and I was there for approximately 6 months. And while I was there, a couple of plainclothes gentlemen walked in with a case in their hand, and they said, Lieutenant Colonel Woodard, you're going to be full bird colonel because you're going to be stationed in a location that requires you to be at this rank.
Mm-hmm.
So they handed me my full bird colonel right then and there, and which was unheard of, but that's what happened. And then I was shipped off to Las Vegas, Nevada, and spent one night. And basically, they gave us $5,000, and they said, "Here, go have fun." So we basically, the ones that were with me, they went, and I went downtown and went to do some gambling. And then afterwards, we were done. The next morning, we boarded an aircraft. It was a turboprop aircraft at McCarran, and took off from there at 7 o'clock in the morning. And we arrived in Area 51. When we walked out of the aircraft, it was pitch black. And I said, well, that's odd. We left at 7 in the morning. It's pitch black. How come there's no stars? And they said, you're inside of a mountain. So I
Like
said,
NORAD or something?
Again?
Like NORAD in Colorado, Pikes Peak?
Similar to that, but not quite the same. The aircraft, taxied into a hangar, and the entire aircraft and all was taken down to a different level. And when we disembarked the aircraft, it was pitch black. You couldn't see anything. And of course, they let us know that we were inside of a mountain. We got into a staff vehicle and started driving down this tunnel. It suddenly dropped down at a 45-degree angle, and we kept going down. And we got down to the first level. We disembarked the vehicle. We went into a building, and they said, take everything off, all the way down to your birthday suit. You're going to be decontaminated. Mm-hmm. So we took off everything, and they decontaminated us. And then they put
When
us
you say we, who was with you?
There was a couple other officers that were with me that were also being stationed at the same location.
Okay, Colonel, did they make you base command? You said you became base commander of Area 51. Is that right?
Yes, I relieved the commander that was in charge at that time. When I walked into after we decontaminated 3 different times, and when I got to the final briefing area, they said, okay, now you're going to be relieving the current commander. I walk into this room, and here's this gentleman. He's sitting in his chair in uniform, and he's shaking like a leaf. I mean, just all over. He was just totally a bundle of nerves. And he said, I said, I'm not, announced myself, and he says, I am relieved. And then he said, they escorted him out under armed guard.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Why are you so nervous and upset? He says, you'll find out.
Okay.
And what did you find out?
Well, I found out later what he was so upset about, but it didn't upset me. What upset me, what later on while I was stationed there, I found out other things that were disturbing, but not to the point where it was causing me to have shakes and all that. But
Can you share what was disturbing?
Well, the disturbing part was that one segment of the facility was strictly for genetic engineering. And that area, there was children there.
Mm-hmm.
And these children,
Human children?
human children that had been on milk cartons.
I was just going to ask.
Oh boy.
On milk
Okay.
cartons?
Yeah, the missing children.
Missing children
Oh,
on milk
oh.
cartons, right? And these
Right.
children were there, and they were being genetically engineered.
How so? You say genetic, were they
Yeah, what does that mean?
Were they mixed with
Well-
alien DNA, if you will?
Yeah, being spliced in
Oh.
of extraterrestrial beings.
All right, so what preparation was done? Are they getting ready to be the leaders of the next generation, or what's going on here?
Well, they were. It's interesting because at that time, during that time frame, there was a desire to have a one world government, and at the time, and during that time frame, it was relevant at that time, which is not now, but then it was, and they were going to be characters in a staged invasion to bring about the one world government. And so that was the disturbing part to me.
So to push the Third World War, is that what we are saying?
Not a Third World War, no, not World War.
Uh-huh.
To bring about an excuse to bring about one world government.
I see.
Right.
And of course, that didn't happen because
So many questions.
How is it that you can speak about all this? Isn't this sort of supposed to be under wraps? Like what?
Well, it's under wraps, yes, but also when they, after I had gotten out of the military, I was up in Mount Shasta, California, living in an apartment, and I heard a knock on my door, and it was two gentlemen and one female, and they were all dressed in black,
Mm-hmm.
and they said, Colonel Woodard, you are to desist and stop talking about what you did in the military.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, why? And they said, because it's a need-to-know basis, and nobody needs to know. And I said, well, frankly, I'm no longer in the military, so I'm not worried about you. And they said, we are prepared if you do not agree to stop talking. We are prepared to take your life.
Mm-hmm.
And at that moment, I looked at them and I said, try it.
And
And they said, what do you mean? I said, pull out your pistol and shoot me if you can.
Wow. So you are saying you're protected then?
Yes, I'm protected.
at what point did you have you always had a memory of originating from Hollow Earth, or was there a moment in your
There was a time in my past where, in my early childhood, that my mind was wiped. Because when I was brought to the surface, me and my sister, we were brought to the surface. We were left in a dumpster.
I was just going to say a garbage dump.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in a dumpster in a park out in the city of Wichita Falls, Texas.
And you're hermaphrodites, right?
Yes.
Both of you. Can you explain to everyone what that actually is?
Hermaphrodite means that I was born both male and female in one body,
Right.
male and female genitals.
So at that time, your brain, you had no memory. When did you hit your head and get the reverse amnesia where you woke up and remembered where you originated from?
Well, it happened when I was in elementary school. We were sitting in the we were sitting in the class, and the science teacher was talking about the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And he was talking about how the Earth, makeup of the Earth. And he said, "Is there anyone that has any questions?" And at that moment, what he was saying didn't ring true to what I knew within me.
Mm.
And I said, he said, "Do you have any questions?" I said, "Yes, I do." And I stood up, and he said, "What is the question?" I says, "Why are you telling these children a lie?"
Mm-hmm.
And he says, "What do you mean?" He says, "I said, you know as well as I do, the Earth is hollow." And everybody started laughing. And he says, "Come in the hallway with me." So I went out the hallway with him, and he says, "How do you know this?" And I said, "I know it."
Can we take a step back and can you
know
tell
it.
us what the hollow earth is like? Because
There was cities and all that. Adam Bird was there. You want to talk about that, Billy?
Are we on just a 30-minute?
Yes,
Yeah,
that's, we need all the greatest information
and-
fast,
you
and
know,
then have you return next
and
week.
But what we want to do, because there's so many questions now, and I have a ton of them. So
Have Father come through and
but we can always do.
explain about Hollow Earth.
Okay, we can always do tape 2 or section 2 next week, and because we do want to continue with this, and I see we have about 10 minutes at best here.
Okay, let me bring my father through and let him explain to you what Hollow Earth is and all that. And I'm going to turn you over to my beloved.
Okay, Billy.
Can you
The other
explain
thing,
that quickly?
the other thing, Billy, is that you do conference calls with about 2,000 persons per week or every other week. Do you want to give us that number so people who are really interested can be tuned in to those calls that you do? What is that number? And when is the next broadcast?
It's going to be in not this Saturday, but the following Saturday.
Okay.
It would be 347-637-2383, and you can listen in on the call.
Okay, and that's going to be at 12 noon Eastern time, 2 Saturdays. Can you give us the date?
Yeah, it's 12 Eastern. It's 9 a.m. Pacific time. This is Spain.
What date?
And well, let me see. The date,
Saturday the 25th?
I think that's, yes, the 25th. Saturday in the morning. It's about a 2-hour call. And usually people call and have questions. But usually Zora, Billy's dad, will come and speak at length in regards to the happenings in other dimensions, as well as what's happening, from the galactics and what's happening right now on the surface of the Earth. And here is Zara.
All right.
give us a little 5-minute version of what it's
Channeling.
like.
Well, Hollow Earth is a
He's how?
extremely harmonious world. It doesn't have what you have on the surface. You do not have what is termed as violence. You do not have what is termed as disease or sickness, or no duality whatsoever. Everything is one. Every one is one. Understand, you as a people are one with the Creator. You understand this, yes?
Yes.
Now, understand also, there are there's one term that you should totally eliminate from your vocabulary, and that would be the term known as death. No one dies. They ascend.
Agreed.
They ascend to the full fifth dimension. And there are two ways of ascending. One is to take your body with you, and the other is to not take your body with you and just to pass away, as you term it, and just step into your new body. And then you also have the ascension where you take the body with you. And, well, Hollow Earth, of course, is a completely harmonious world. You have everything is held in common. You do not have what is termed private property, as you term it. You do not have what is termed as any classes, such as in here you have what the upper class, middle class, and lower class. There are no classes. There is no distinction between a poor person or a person of wealth, because there is no such thing. It is all.
Hello?
The environment is extremely healing to you. Also, the gravity is only a third what it is on the surface. Now, whatever you weigh on the surface, in the interior, you would only weigh 1/3 of that. And we are very tall. And just as the animals and trees are thousands upon thousands of feet tall. And the human life, or the inhabitants of the interior world, they are anywhere from 15 feet, of course, that is my height, and my beloved Soraya, she is between 12.5 to 13 feet tall.
Uh-huh.
Do you have animals there?
Oh, indeed. We have creatures of antiquity, or creatures of the prehistoric age.
Why did you send your
Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Why did you send your son and your daughter here on this to the surface?
We sent them here so they could, at a more opportune time, to bring forth the knowledge of our existence to the surface world. Now, in 1947, February 19th, 1947, Admiral Richard Evelyn Byrd, United States Navy Arctic explorer, was allowed to enter our domain, and for the purpose of parleying with him. Now, understand, when he came to the Hollow Earth, he was not aware where he was. He was quite perplexed and quite confused and quite scared at the same time. And when he disembarked the aircraft and they brought him to our council chamber, we gave him a message for the surface world. And that was a threefold message. It was the following. The first part was that we exist, and we are your brothers and sisters in the hollow of your world. The second part was of a medical nature, and we gave him, at that time, we gave him vials in a container of all the cures to all of your diseases at that time. And then the third part was to cease and desist from using nuclear weapons or atomic energy. Atomic energy is not meant for humans, not meant for the surface world. It has dire consequences.
And you spoke to him in what language? What means of communication?
English.
Is that your language?
Sanskrit is our language in general. However, we have the ability to speak forth. I give you an example. What is termed as I have spoken to peoples of many tongues and nations that had gathered together in a rainbow gathering in what is termed as Mount Shasta, California, and they had what is termed as interpreters there. However, when I spoke to them, they received the message in their own tongue.
Mm-hmm. Is it possible that you can come back next week? We have about 2 minutes, and that's all we have. I'm so sorry. It should be an hour program or a 2-hour program, but it's not yet. We will. We are working on that. So
Indeed, I can do that. I would agree to that.
That would be wonderful. Bring your son along.
so shall I contact Billy and make arrangements?
Oh, yes, you can contact Zureya or you can contact Quasar, either one.
Okay, all right. All right.
Quick question. How many doorways to the hollow earth around this planet are there?
More than you can count.
Another question. We have an animal here called dolphins. Do they swim through? Do they have that porthole to swim to?
Indeed.
Okay.
They
Thought
don't
so.
know where Atlantis is.
Yes.
Ask them.
I swim with them. That's
Right.
why I was wondering.
Okay, we have 1 minute, that's all. I really appreciate you being on. Let's schedule next week, and we have a ton of questions, and we do want people to call in who have questions and comments.
Because we have so much time for them.
Well, we don't have, and I'm so sorry. Could you get that information out?
Sure. If you have any
Hollow
photos or
HollowEarthNetwork.com.
okay, thank you.
So for the people who are listening who want to get more information about you and the call, we gave that number out. We give it again, 347-637-2383, and the next call with your son will be on the 25th of this month, and that's at 12 noon Eastern time. And so,
Indeed.
and then your website is what, before we go?
HollowEarthNetwork.com.
HollowEarthNetwork.com.
Right. I certainly appreciate you being on.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's really a pleasure. We'll see you next time, and thank you for your presence and the information that you have given us. And I would suggest to other people who really want to know more about it, just go to Google Hollow Earth, and you'll see a lot of information about Adam Bird and all the other people. Hey, this has been great for me. Debbie? Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. Remember, tune in to lightsinthenight.tv.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening and watching The Lights in the Night Show with Russell Johnson. Today's show can be seen on lightsinthenight.tv. And remember to send your pictures and videos to UFO at amp2.tv, and perhaps they will be used on the show. Join us next week as we bring you more information on UFO sightings and aliens that your government doesn't want you to know about. Keep the information flowing, and we will see you next week on The Lights in the Night Show with Russell Johnson. The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program